Hi, it's Dr. Parikh, and we're talking now about how to choose a specific peer-reviewed article. And we covered some of this in the last video. So when you look at PsycInfo, you have a lot of options to help you filter. Now let's look at how you actually look at an article and decide whether it's going to work for your paper or not. So you want it to be, so you need to be able to actually read the whole thing, not just an abstract. That's why we have linked full text. Because there's other ones that, this will cover everything that's been published that this database has access to, but not all of them you get through our library subscription. But any of those you can still get through, sorry, let me make this smaller. You can still order them through what's called interlibrary loan, and it takes usually about a week to get it. So for now, because this course is so quick, see if you can find enough articles just through linked full text. But if there's one or, if you're at, 3 or 4 good ones, you can take off linked full text, and especially if you're working a little ahead, you can probably get it in time. We also want it to be peer reviewed. That means that other academics have looked at it, have read it, and have said, yes, this was a good study. It was well, it was not perfect, but it was well done, and it deserves to be part of our literature. It needs, and we have it kind of limited to peer-reviewed journal. If you're having trouble, you can take that one off and see if maybe some more things show up. And we want to exclude dissertations. You can use it as a scholarly source, but it's not going to count as one of your 3 to 4. I wouldn't bother with dissertations right now. And we can also adjust how recent things are. I would say 2000 is a pretty hard cutoff, but really you want it to be within about the last 10 years. Or you want most of your articles to be within the last 10 years at least, because we really do, information changes. We learn that what we thought was a good treatment wasn't. We don't still use leeches to treat things. And same with psychology. We don't believe everything that Freud said. We've just found better evidence. And so you want to make sure you're using good information. So when you get your search results, you can read through, and it says to ink or not to ink, the meaning of tattoos among college students. So that's the title. You can see who wrote it, what journal it was written in, College Student Journal, volume, just kind of basic citation stuff. And then we see that they start with the abstract. Let me see what my page options are. So if you click detail, that'll let you read the whole abstract. If you go to page options, detail. So I can read through, and it's actually bolding the keywords that I told it to search for. It also will tell me, it says subjects, I say participants. That's a good sign. That probably means it's empirical. Most empirical articles with research have participants. And so the abstract gives you, it's like a snapshot of your total paper. And it's going to tell you what the main the basic reason, the main findings, who was in the study. It tells you the basics. And so you can read the abstract. If the abstract seems pretty interesting, you can click the PDF full text, and you want to save a copy of this PDF because that's what you're going to keep using. So I can download this PDF. I can also print it. If you go into the library's computer lab, you can print for free. I do almost all my reading digital. I hate paper, what I call dead tree books, for pleasure. But when it comes to textbooks and journal articles, I have to print it out. I just do. I do double-sided. I do everything I can to save paper, but I just have to read it on paper. And you can sort of scan through it. You can look to see how long it is. Pay attention. Sometimes, these are middle to big size pages. Sometimes it'll say it's like 30 or 40 pages, but they're little half sheets of paper. And so it's really not that long. And some are really dense. Look to see, whether it feels like something that you can read and understand. I'll make other videos about how to read them, how to read the whole thing. But you can kind of scan it and get a sense of whether it's something that you're going to be comfortable reading. It's going to be a challenge to read them, but if you feel completely overwhelmed, look and see if there's other ones you can do instead. This is awesome, but I don't know that it really fits. Inked Human Horse Apprenticeship tattoos, and time in the Pazyryk world. Yet that's not really fitting with what my topic is. Managing meaning and belonging, young women's negotiation of authenticity in body art. Now we're feeling back closer to what I'm interested in. And so here we get into things. It talks about who was in there. Oh, here for subjects, I guess they use this to mean like keywords. So sometimes it says who's in it, sometimes not. This is an important one to see because it's peer reviewed. It came up through all of our filters, but it says review of something else. And there's no discussion of participants. This is actually a book review. So this Under the Skin, a psychoanalytic study of body modification, that's a book. Now I could order that book through the library. I could use it for my paper, but it wouldn't count as one of my peer-reviewed sources. Books are not peer-reviewed, and it would not be one of my empirical sources, or it would not fit that. So this, I mean, it could be interesting, but I would need to actually look at the book. This review is not going to give me enough information. The neural integration of speaker and message. Yeah, it just happens to have the word tattoo in it. It's not. And inscribing the body. Now here, again, we're talking about actually tattoos, and this could fit, but it says, this article reviews recent literature in anthropology and related disciplines pertaining to the cultural constructions of the inscribed body. That makes me think that they're not doing their own research. So far, out of this search, I got 2 articles. Now I could try different topics. I can also look at these articles and look at who they're citing and try to find some of those articles. Hopefully that helps you see how do you pick an article that's going to work well for you. I can go down here to the reference list and I can look and read through. I can also, as I read their literature review, I can look at who they're citing. So I can look and see, oh, this is a really interesting idea, and I can look to see who's cited, and I can look that article up. That's why there are citations, so you can follow things back. So that should give you an idea of how do you choose articles for your topic. You want to make sure that they are close enough that you can kind of make them cohesive, but not so similar that they're exactly the same thing. And remember, you need to start with 6, but by the end you can be down to 4 to 5. So there's a lot of flexibility.